All right, good morning. Welcome back. Today's lesson, we're going to start playing around with the NPCs and AI and the scripting of sequences and making events happen and NPCs, both good and bad, follow, fight, talk, and interact with the player. So we're going to start out with the NPC citizens, which are by default the ally of the player, and we're going to get most of our AI kind of like pathfinding and all that stuff done with these guys before we add in the other monsters, the combine and the zombies and stuff like that. So for this lesson, we're going to keep this map pretty simple, and we're going to create a new map. I want you to just make a box. I think mine's 1500 by 1500 by 1500. 8 thickness on the walls. You can use Make Hollow for this because this map is going to be basically just a demonstration of how to deal with the NPCs and create pathfinding nodes for them and kind of get them to do what we want them to do aside from just wandering around randomly. And we'll end up creating a map for each of the different major NPC types. So we'll do one for citizens, one for combine, and then we'll do another one for kind of the random NPCs that are mixed in throughout the game. So step number one before we go any further is there's a video link in the lesson. It's about 25 minutes long, but it's a really good lesson. If you haven't already watched this YouTube video, the Half-Life 2 Citizens Analysis, and I think I've mentioned it to a few classes, but I don't know if I've mentioned it to everybody. And you could probably watch it on double speed. It's 25 minutes. It's kind of long. But what it does is this guy who made this YouTube video took every bit of dialogue and every action for the NPCs and he kind of exposes them, and it helps us fill in the backstory of the NPCs. Now, this is important because while we're not making Half-Life 3, we are making a game within the same universe. So what that means is that, the citizens in our game are the same citizens that are in Gordon's game. Um, we're not necessarily playing our game as Gordon Freeman, even though, because we're not going to record new dialogue for the game, they're still going to call us Gordon. But our game is not in the main story plot line. We're within this same universe. And sort of like the way the new, like Solo or, the new Star Wars movies. Gosh, what was the other one? The better other ones. But they're outside of the main trilogy. So this is like a story within the Half-Life universe. So what that means is that our citizens are the same people that are in the game with Gordon. So understanding who they are and what their motivations are and what they're capable of is important for us. So before you proceed any further, pause the video, follow the link in the lesson to this citizens analysis video. And like I said, you can watch it at double speed if you want to, or just skip through it and read everything. But this guy does a really nice breakdown of everything about the citizens, who they are, what they've gone through, what's being done to them, the different variations of them. And then once you've done that, open up a brand new map in Hammer. Just make a box, make it hollow, and then come back to the video. All right, so that's your first thing for today. All right, so I assume at this point you have watched the video and you're back. So what we're going to look at now are these citizens here. Now, the citizens, they're just an entity in the game. So let's go ahead and run this, and we'll look at a few things that you should consider about the citizens. So I'm going to go ahead and run my map or compile it, and I'm going to go ahead and reload it. All right, so first thing you're going to notice, so here's my map. You see that there's 3 guys who kind of all look the same in the center there, and then there's 2 females out on the edge. So I'm going to reload the map, and I want you to pay attention to the expressions on the faces of the 3 guys in the middle. So let's reload the map again. And I'm going to take a couple steps forward here. Right? So those three guys in the middle, they are the same citizen, obviously. But the first thing we're going to look at here is their facial expressions. So the guy on the left is angry, the guy in the middle is normal, and the guy on the right is going to be scared. So let's reload again. And when you look at these guys, take a look at their facial expressions. Okay, so there's scared guy, normal guy, and angry guy. Okay, so that's the first thing, is when we put these people in, we do have options on their facial expressions. So you can look at these three guys and you can kind of get a little bit of feeling from, that this guy's angry, this guy's normal, and this guy who is turned away from me is scared. Now the next thing I want you to look at when I reload it is look at the citizens on the edges, the far left and the far right. Okay, so you'll notice this time I have two females, and let's load it again and see what happens. Alright, so now we've got a female on the left, old guy on the right, and now we've got a different female on the left and another female on the right. And now we've got a different group. Now I've got a different group, female, bald guy. So every time I reload it, what you should be noticing here is that the three guys in the middle stay the same. The citizens on the left and the right are changing randomly. But the one on the left was always female. The one on the right was switching between male and female and switching out to different appearances. Alright, let's get out of the game and look at how all this works. So here's the first thing. All the citizens, when I put them in, are this guy right here. Alright? And by our options, we determine who they are. So let's put in a citizen. So I'm going to click on my entity tool. Okay, entity tool. I'm going to come over here under category, entities, objects, and we're going to drop the menu down and we're going to select NPC Citizen. Now on this map, I do not want you to put in anything but citizens, okay? The map is going to have a player start, info player start for you, and a bunch of citizens. I don't want you to put in any other NPCs at this time. Some of them are broken and some of them require additional steps for them to work within the game. So I can't have you mixing things up yet. So this map is purely for citizens, okay? So do not be tempted to put in a whole bunch of other NPCs. I want this map to be everything about NPC citizens. On your main map is where we'll start mixing all the different types of NPCs up. But on these little demo maps we're going to do, we're going to look at everything we need to understand about each of the types so that you have a nice clean environment to work in. And we're not worried about them killing each other or glitching each other out or running from each other or anything like that. All right? So with that said, we're going to go to our entity tool, NPC Citizen. You're going to click somewhere and you're going to drop in this dude right here. Okay? Now if we run the map just like this, let's see what happens. Alright, I'm going to reload and let's go look at that guy back there. Alright, so first thing you're going to notice is this is not the guy who I placed in the map. Alright, so let's reload it again. And you can see already that that is not the guy. That is some girl. And if we reload again, different guy. Alright, so the first thing you should have noticed, if you drop an NPC in, by default, they're random. So if you have no care who the NPCs are, you can just throw random NPCs in and it'll pick a random gender and a random head. And so you'll get a smattering of different NPCs. I don't remember the number off the top of my head. I think there's 8 males and 6 females, but I might be wrong. We'll see it on the drop-down menu here in a minute. But nonetheless, if you don't have a specific NPC in mind, then you can just put randoms in. and they'll be fine. And for most of your NPCs throughout the game, just random citizens walking around, just the default is going to be fine. But when we start getting into sequences where we want certain things to happen, you probably will want to manage the NPC, and that's when we'll get into naming them and applying genders and heads to them so we know exactly who's who, and equipping them and giving them a little bit more brains than a normal NPC. Alright, so let's go back to our editor. And we're going to take this NPC that we just opened up, or placed, I guess, and we're going to double click him, and let's look at his options. So first off, we can name him. As with anything else, we're only going to name him if we need to. So if this guy has a specific task in mind, we can name him whatever you want. So, for now, I'm just going to go ahead and name him just for the heck of it. So I'll go ahead and give him a name. And we'll scroll down here a little bit further, and you're going to see a lot of options, okay? We'll cover all of these later on. Like path corners, we can give them guidance and navigation so they know where to go when the game starts, so they don't just stand there looking stupid. We can put them into squads so that groups of them will stay together. There's a lot of stuff we can do to them through these options here. Who they shoot, who they fight, who they run from, what kind of weapons they have, if they actually have a weapon. So for now, let's leave it at nothing. Vital ally. This is a horribly annoying feature, but we've all played games with this. If this guy dies, my game ends if he's a vital ally. So, and we've all played like escort missions where you have to keep somebody alive. Horribly annoying, but that's the option for it right there. So we'll go down a little bit further where it says type. All right. So this is on my NPC Citizen. I went ahead and named him. I'm going to scroll down where it says type default. So the default is this guy in the blue kind of denim jumpsuit here. This is the basic citizen in the game. They're kind of like slaves, kind of, sort of, or subjects, I guess. I don't know. They're not really slaves, but they work for the Combine, and they're prisoners within the world. If we come over to the drop-down menu here, we've got downtrodden, we've got refugee, rebel, and then for now we're going to leave unique alone. So unique lets us replace the model, and I'll show you guys that later on. It can cause a lot of problems if we bring in models. Excuse me. So we're going to leave that option alone for now. So for today, we've got downtrodden, default, refugee, and rebel. Let's stick with these first four right here. So I'm going to have you make one of each in the sample, but let's move on before we come back to this. All right, under expression type, scared, normal, and angry. Those are the three faces I showed you. Random is the default, so that means your citizens will come out, with a random face and a random expression, I guess. So up to you. You can do whatever you like with that one. Depending on the scenario, I'd probably go with random most of the time, but I suppose if I was making an angry crowd, I could put everybody to angry. If we go down a little bit further here where it says model, and you drop this down, you're going to see, we have 9 males and we have 6 females. Cheaple, what this is a special model that Valve used, and in the video you should have seen it. It's for far away distance stuff, and it's not a high res model. It's like a low poly model for just background characters that are not close for the player to see. Odessa, I don't really remember what this is, but it is broken. They just didn't remove it. So if you're going to play around with that, go ahead, just do it outside of the map for the class. All right, now here's what you have to understand. When I click on like male 2 and I click apply, it will not put in male number 2. It is still going to do random because there's a flag involved. So if you want to use anything other than a random character, we have to go to flags, and you have to uncheck this thing right here that says random head. So if we uncheck that and click apply, what that allows me to do is choose a model. So male 2, male 3, whatever. So let's go to male 9, apply. See that guy. Let's look at male 7, apply. There's that guy right there. Run my map. And let's reload. Alright, so let's go through here. There's that guy right there. Now let's reload again. And let's go look at him. Same guy. So what you'll notice is every single time I reload, it's the same guy. So he's no longer random. So what that means is when we look at these citizens, if you want a specific citizen, there's two things you have to do. So first, you have to come down here to where it says model and pick your model, click apply, and we'll see what this guy looks like. There's that guy. Then the second thing you have to do is you have to go to flags and you have to uncheck random head. If you don't do that, it will continue to put in random characters no matter what you do. Okay, so there's two steps to that. So you have to go to class info, model, flags, uncheck random head. Now if you want it to be a random male only, you would check this box right here, random male head. If you want it to only be a random female, so you're making a dormitory level and the combines separate the citizens by gender. If you watched the video, you would have seen that. And you want a dormitory that's only prisoner women, random. We could check this box right here. And it would make a bunch of random citizens, but they would only be female. Okay, so that's what those do. If you want to specify, you have to uncheck all of these random boxes. No random heads, no random male heads, no random female heads. They have to be all unchecked. Okay? All right, so your assignment today is to put together a map, just a hollow box, nothing crazy, just this box right here. Add a player start. And then I want you to assemble on the map one of each male and one of each female. Don't do the cheapo male, don't do Odessa, but I want you to do one of each, no randoms. So I want all of I want them in like 2 rows. I want all the females in 1 row, all the males in another row, but I don't want them random. So I want them all placed individually using the steps that I just showed you. And just line them up like I've got on my map. Just put all the males, there's 9 males, 6 females, put them in 2 rows, but I want them organized 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I want to put them in sequence, left to right. So this will be male 1, male 2, male 3, male 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then in another row, female 1 through 6, no randoms, all right? And I don't care what expression they are, and I don't care which version you put in there. You can put downtrodden or rebel or whatever, but I want 9 males, 6 females, set specifically to male 1, male 2, male 3, and then female 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that's it. Send me a screenshot of that, and that is our first step in creating citizens.